Previously on Mercy Point.
But let me tell you something. Drew Breslauer is absolutely the last thing on my mind.
I'll stay out of your way if you stay on mine. Is that fair enough?
Fair enough.
May I ask you a question, Dylan?
Sure, anything.
Are you seeing anyone?
That question was completely inappropriate. I don't know if you're malfunctioning or what, but you better get yourself a tune-up fast.
Maybe you should consider a transfer.
I can't do that.
Why not?
Because everything and everyone I care about is here.
Sat system born human female, age 27, heart's in major flux and rest was extremely heavy.
She's got it pretty bad.
Is the doctor on call?
Dr. Jurado's on his way.
Don't worry, CJ's gonna take really good care of you.
She knows that.
What's wrong? What's happening?
Had a slight relapse.
No, not now. No.
Try to relax, Dr. Breslauer. You're in good hands now.
Okay, ladies, give me a little room so I can get a closer look. Hey, what's the problem?
I don't know.
Okay. Shortness of breath. Slight tingling sensation. I know exactly what to do.
Dr. Breslauer. Were you dreaming?
What?
I'm sorry to wake you, but we're having a problem with your alien patient in Recovery 7. Everyone else is occupied.
Let's walk.
Let's hear it. Cardiac pulse is 20 to 80 over 49. Atropine levels of 63% above normal and rising.
Hip, is this a reaction to the Flumririd I prescribed?
A block has no known adverse reaction to gastric hyperbarics. Post-op dosage was customary.
We've got atropine swelling here. Trachea is closing off its tubing. O2 wide open. Has he been given anything else in the last 12 hours? Nothing on his chart. Critical. Give me 30 megs of G plus in that O2. Hip, page Dr. Maxwell, Kodar.
There you are. What happened? I thought you were coming by last night.
I was until we got called to that new Krell port they're building. There's an alien protest over job quotas, and things got nasty when some of the demonstrators started swinging their flippers at a construction crew.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. But one of the aliens got hammered pretty hard. He's on his way over in a medcraft now.
Ah, yes. Another day, another derm fuse.
Hang in there. This time next month, we'll both be headed out on the next Sahardic mission.
Knock steel.
Hey, did you get that letter of recommendation?
Oh, not yet.
Okay. You better get on it, CJ. You can ace all the tests and turn in the best mission app in the world, but at the end of the day, who you know knows how to go.
I hear ya.
I'd score a letter from the primary alien physiologist if I were you.
Yeah. I'll talk to Grove.
Good idea, but wait 15 minutes, would you?
Spill it.
Patient presented at O200 yesterday with severe gastric inflammation. Digestive cavities were emptied and I put him on 4 megs of Riddick.
Reaction?
Inflammation reduced as expected. We were just holding him in recovery until his fever broke.
And when respiratory failure started?
Half an hour ago. We put him on O2 and 30 megs of G+, but he's not responding. Atropine
Full
levels
respiratory cessation imminent.
All right, relax, fella. I don't like this any more than you do. Yeah, it's this calcium sac. It regulates autonomic functions. I don't know why, but it's totally seized up. Got some eggs and pedigree. Another 30 G+. We're gonna have to juice this cow sack.
50 megs.
No, come on, big guy. Come on. Another 50 megs. No, give me 100 meg injector.
100 megs.
Yep.
CalSac failure imminent. Complete autonomic descent.
Over a case of heartburn?
All vital functions negative.
What the hell just happened? all gotten what you...
Where's the fire?
Nowhere. Sorry.
Hey, you all right?
I just lost my first patient.
Human or alien?
What's the matter?
No, listen. I'm sure you did everything you could.
Multiple fractures, head and torso. Dermal lacerations and abrasions. Anything else, Hippocrates?
The patient has also sustained a ruptured posterior Lefland tube, which, if not repaired, may result in parum seepage.
Hippocrates, access the translation files. While I speak 17 languages, I am not fluent in Souchere.
He wishes to know where he is, and though he understands Earth English, refuses to speak it.
Very well. You are at Mercy Point Hospital. I am Dr. Baton.
Because there are humans working here, he demands to be transferred to another facility.
While I may sympathize with your displeasure, you are still in need of immediate medical attention.
He will never be touched again by humans, and cannot stand the sight of them.
The result, I assume, of your beating in the Krellport melee?
He says the humans treat the Souchere like a lower life form. When he tried to protest, this is what they did to him.
I realize the interspecies labor laws are not yet fully resolved, but until they are, I suggest you seek out a safer way to vent your complaints.
The only thing that humans understand is violence.
Historically speaking, that may be true, but there are notable exceptions. Mercy Point is one of them.
Are you telling him it is safe here?
While the humans here might often be annoying and offensive, I assure you they are not dangerous. Since I am your doctor, you will suffer no human contact. My word.
Hey, this is the one Drew lost this morning?
She didn't do it on her own.
Yeah, well, you may need to give her the death as part of medicine speech anyway.
Well, it might be easier if I knew what killed him.
You know what? I'm gonna leave you to figure it out on your own. You always do.
You need something?
No. Yeah, sorry. You know, I'm closing in on the short list for the next Sahardic mission, and my sources tell me that a letter of recommendation from you could help me to seal the deal.
What exactly is it that Kim would like me to write?
You know, nothing fancy, a little something about how incredibly gifted I am, maybe a brief mention of how you taught me everything you know about alien medicine.
I will make it sing, and you will owe me big time.
Deal. My future is in your hands. Well, that and a cow sack.
Blink again for me. Well, there's definitely been some damage to the retinal membrane.
Occupational hazard, I'm afraid.
What sort of work do you do, Miss Collingswood?
Oh, please, call me Joanne. And I'm a space cartographer. I design flight charts into the Sahartic. It means spending countless hours staring through those blasted spectra views, I'm afraid, but until you've tracked a pulsar wave in 4-second flashes back from Oberon, you don't know the meaning of mesmerizing.
That certainly does sound exciting. But it's cost you nearly 60% of your vision. Light increase 0.5. I'm sorry, is that too much? Light decrease 0.3?
That's better, thanks. So, it's time for another eye transplant again, is it? How about green this time? Might make for a nice change of pace.
Another eye transplant? You mean you've had this done before?
Oh, yes. Dr. Jurado's personally performed the last two. Not that I enjoy the procedure one bit, mind you, but it is a fine consolation having CJ be the first vision I see when my wraps are removed.
I can only imagine.
I want these tested for platelet integrity and then cross-checked for abnormalities with our THWAC database.
Of course, Dr. Maxwell.
Then on a full molecular chem scan. Rush job if you can swing it, Bartok.
Whatever you need.
Thanks.
Gross.
Come up with anything yet?
No. And this is a species I'm supposed to know better than just about any other.
Doesn't mean we know everything.
How many alien patients do we lose in a year?
5, maybe 6.
We've lost that many in the last 6 months.
Yeah, but our occupancy rate's up nearly 30% in the last year, so more patients, more deaths, no?
I know. I mean, you're probably right, but the way that thwart went down,
I'll tell you what. If it makes you feel any better, I'll scan all the files from last year and double-check for any irregularities, okay?
Okay. Great.
Oh, Dr. Breslauer, when you have a moment, I would very much like to speak with you about your dream this morning.
Come again?
I'm simply curious what it feels like.
Oh, sure. Ani, maybe we could talk about it later. But I need to talk to you now.
Okay. About?
Joanne Collingswood.
Joni, is she here?
Exam 2, and she's asking for another eye transplant.
Simple enough. What's the problem?
The problem is this woman's been changing her eyes the way some people change their minds. There's bound to be some cumulative damage. Don't you think that a third eye transplant is a little risky?
First of all, Joni is not a little girl. She makes her own decisions. And second of all, there are people who are willing to push themselves in order to break new ground.
Are you sure you're not confusing what you want with what's best for her?
We're not here to run our patients' lives, Drew. If you're uncomfortable with what she wants, I'll take the case, all right?
Good. She'll be thrilled.
Gro, got a sec?
Sure.
Well, there's nothing conclusive, but on a quick scan of the records, it shows that 4 aliens died of complications outside and beyond what they were admitted for.
But 2 of these are virtual unknowns.
Which means no matter what we did, it was a crapshoot.
But you have to admit that the third, the Kermiset and the Thwak,
are harder to explain.
Dr. Breslauer, Dr. Maxwell, Dr. DeMilla has asked to see you in the conference room immediately.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ani.
Haylen Breslauer, Director of Medicine, Grote Maxwell, Chief Alien Physiologist. Steneth Locke, Chief Independent Investigator for the Interspecies Council, and his aide, Mr. Cushing.
Investigator? What brings you here?
Well, I'll tell you. Your non-human patients appear to be dying faster than you can save them.
Roger Ebert, BN.
Although anonymous and so far untraceable, we received a very disturbing call informing us that what you call aliens are dying at Mercy Point, and not from natural causes.
An anonymous call. It's obviously nothing more than a wild accusation by a disturbed mind.
Perhaps. And yet further inquiry by my staff has left us with some cause for concern. Am I correct in understanding that the Fouque de Lange died here just this morning?
Yes, it did.
And according to our information, the doctor in charge was a new resident, Drew Breslauer?
No, Dr. Breslauer was under my supervision when we lost the Thwak.
And since no official report has yet been filed, perhaps you can fill us all in on the cause of death.
We don't customarily file a report until we've determined the COD.
So it wasn't from natural causes?
I wouldn't go that far. We're still looking into it.
Good. So am I.
Are you suggesting that the death of any alien here, regardless of cause, might actually have been committed by a member of our staff?
Considering Mercy Point's experimental charter to treat all species, I can't afford to rule out anything. I'll need full access to all patient records of all non-humans who died here over the past 24 months, as well as uninterrupted use of your conference room to depose your staff.
I have a hospital to run here.
I have the full authority of the council, Doctor. Of course, if, as you claim, these are merely wild accusations, I should think you'd want that proven as soon as possible, no?
We'll cooperate with your investigation in any way we can.
I'm sure you will. Doctors.
And how is it that I was the last to know about all this?
We just started putting the pieces together an hour ago, Harris.
When I couldn't figure out how we lost the Thwak, we went back to the records to see if maybe we weren't doing something wrong.
He's saying Locke might actually be onto something here.
No, not at all, Harris. Nobody's killing anybody. There's a perfectly sound medical explanation for all of this.
All right. But if you uncover anything suspicious, I want to hear about it immediately.
How you feeling, Joni?
Hey. Much better now you're here.
Oh. So, been having fun out there?
Yeah, gobs of it. I'm halfway through charting an extraordinary cluster of nebula quasars in the Delta Quadrant. That's where the next mission's headed, you know.
So I've heard. All right, it's time to go nighty-night so I can get this started. It was green you wanted, right?
Only if you approve.
You'll always be a looker to me, Johnny. Okay, and relax. There we go. Hip, give me a full pre-op scan of the ocular cavities and surrounding nerves.
The pre-op scan shows retinal lesions in both orbit configurations.
Par for the course. Isolate the nerve stems, would you?
Nerve stems indicate significant corrosive degeneration of the optic sheaths.
I can see that. Question is, how bad?
92% corrosion in the left optic nerve sheath, 85% in the right.
This isn't going to work.
That is correct, Dr. Jurado. An eye transplant would prove ineffective in restoring any of the patient's vision.
Molly, I'll need a nurse to help me set a fib in exam 3.
Well, if we can ever finish downloading all these stats, that shouldn't be a problem.
What's going on?
ISC investigation. They're making us hand over every chart for an alien death for the last 2 years.
This isn't about the thwok, is it?
No, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Rumor has it they think someone's been pushing aliens over the edge.
Name and species?
Nagno. I'm a Salafib.
Position at Mercy Point?
I've been an orderly for almost 3 years.
How would you characterize the treatment of non-humans here, Nagno?
Well, pretty good, I guess. Every new species that comes in takes some getting used to, and not all of them are easy.
Have you yourself ever felt threatened by a doctor in any way?
By a doctor? Yes. Once I told a patient a joke that made him laugh, and he laughed so hard it caused a cauter line on his stomach to come open.
I see. And how did this human threaten you?
He said he would stitch my mouth shut. But he wasn't a human. It was Dr. Batum. Want to hear the joke?
Excuse me, Haylen? I got the molecular chem scan back from autopsy. The thwok had 40 megs of circulin in the system.
40 megs? That's more than 4 times normal.
Right, it would be like you and I ODing on insulin.
Yeah, but circulin being an alien hormone would make it look like he died of natural causes. I mean, somebody could have easily dosed him and gotten away with it.
Let's not jump to conclusions. That's Locke's job. This thwok could have died of a million different causes, far less dramatic than murder.
All right, well, either way, we've got to tell Harris.
Not until we're sure.
He said himself he wanted to know if we found something suspicious.
Let's just be sure. I'll check for circulin in every alien patient that we're currently treating. Haylen, we've been doctors too long to start asking who done it.
All right, I've already got Ani digging back through previous postmortems.
Great. There is a logical explanation at the bottom of this. Trust me. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to start. Hip translate.
The Suchere desires no contact with humans.
Look, I know about the fight on Kelport, and I'm sorry. All I really need to do is...
You are upsetting my patient. Please, calm yourself. Calm yourself. You are in no danger. Calm yourself. Dr. Maxwell. Dr. Maxwell, may I ask what you're doing here?
Yes, there's an ISC investigator on board who thinks that somebody is after our borderline alien patients. So, as a precautionary measure, I need to get fluid samples from every alien patient to check for abnormal hormone levels.
I appreciate your concern, but I promised my patient that he would not be touched by human hands. If it's all the same to you, I'll collect the sample.
Hey, Morley.
Hey, Dr. B, what's with all this poking around?
You know how it is. Somebody yells fire, and IC pulls out all their hoses.
What can I do you for?
I'm curious about the hormone circulin. How much of it we have in stock?
Circulin, let me check. Well, I wouldn't worry about any shortages there. We've been getting a full case of it around every 6 months or so.
Really? Who's been placing the order, do you know?
They've all been for Dr. Maxwell.
Are you sure?
An unsure pharmacist is an unemployed pharmacist, Doc.
Yeah. Thanks, Marty.
CJ, you there?
Right here, Johnny.
What happened to the transplant?
I wasn't able to do it. I'm sorry. This time the damage is much deeper. Your optic nerves are very badly corroded.
I see. Well, surely you have an idea about how to fix that in your handsome head?
We can attempt to repair the nerves with an operation, but you need to know it's risky.
How risky?
If it doesn't work, there is a good chance you'll be left with less sight than you have now.
Right. So it's all or nothing then. Not much of a cartographer in this condition, you know.
Yes, I know.
So, CJ, if you were seeing things from my perspective, what would you do?
I'm not sure, Joni. But I would definitely want to think it over carefully before I made the call, so maybe you should too.
I'm well aware of the rocky history between humans and other species, the early periods of exploitation, the wars, but now at least we have a framework for peaceful coexistence.
And you yourself were ordered to work here as a representative of the shed, were you not?
To advance the art of medicine for all life forms, it was a sacrifice I accepted.
And during your tenure, have you ever seen a non-human mistreated by any one of the Mercy Point staff?
Intentionally, no.
And unintentionally?
There are far better uses for my time than watching you tell secrets.
Very well. There's one more question, Dr. Berton. When a non-human patient dies, are you ever consulted on the cause of death findings?
Only if I am the attending physician. And even then, they must still be signed off by the primary alien physiologist.
And that would be?
By Dr. Maxwell, of course.
And from rechecking the tissue analysis on those other postmortems, I found that there were still trace amounts of circulin in each of them.
Who was the primary on those cases?
They were all Dr. Maxwell's patients. Should I take these results to Dr. DeMilla now?
No, I'll do it.
Hey,
What's up?
it's Joanne Collingswood.
Yeah, I heard you couldn't do the transplant.
No, you were right. The damage from her last trip out was too extensive. Her only option now is my chronic surgery.
You sure she's ready to take that chance?
I've asked her to think it over, but I'd like you to see her one more time before she makes a final decision.
Can you take her up to olfactory on 7? To talk her in or out of it.
To make sure that I don't let my influence maybe get in the way of what's best for her. That's all.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. And if she still decides to go ahead with it, I could use an assistant OR, assuming you'd be interested.
Dr. Breslauer, you'll be expected in the conference room at 1900 hours for questioning.
Let me ask you something, Sport. Is there anybody in this hospital you're not going to rake over the coals?
As a matter of fact, Dr. Jurado, no.
Grove, can I talk to you?
Sure. So far, all of our current alien cases are showing normal levels of circulin.
But it turned up in the post-mortem analysis of the last 4 that we lost. And it gets worse. You were the primary attending physician in all the cases.
Haylen, I handled 90% of the alien cases. What are you trying to say?
I'm not finished. According to the pharmacy records, you've been ordering large quantities of circulin over the past year. That can't be right, can it?
Of course not. Why would I? You're not seriously asking me if I had anything to do with this.
I didn't say that.
But the thought crossed your mind.
Look, what I think doesn't matter. The point is Locke has got the files by now, and you can bet that he's putting them together in order to point a finger at you.
Dr. Maxwell, you're needed in recovery. It's the Souchere. He's crashing.
He's going into anaphylactic shock.
Pressure's dropping.
50 megs amphetamine.
50 megs amphetamine.
Wait! I made the same mistake. Amphetamine will only make it worse.
Dr. Maxwell.
Listen to me. If he's spiking on circulant, he's going to need 100 megs of boronol, or he can call his death right now.
100 megs of boronol.
100 megs of boronol.
Mercy Point will continue in a moment.
Tonight at 10.
Any particular reason why you nearly lost this patient, Dr. Denot?
Not sure. There may have been an imbalance in his hormone levels.
Too much circulant, perhaps. I seem to keep running across it in the vials. Tell me, is he Dr. Maxwell's patient, too?
No. But Dr. Maxwell is the reason the suture is still alive.
Well, I'm relieved to hear that. But in light of this incident, I must insist that all your non-human patients be confined to a separate ward.
And why would I agree to segregate this hospital?
Because it will make it easier for the military to guarantee their safety. The JMF is currently en route. Unless you'd rather try and convince the ISC there is still no problem here.
Don't push me too far, Locke.
On the contrary, Doctor, I'm doing everything I can to protect your position. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have another statement here.
Harris, I need to speak to you.
So despite the fact that you have just recently arrived here as a new resident, Dr. Maxwell permits you to treat non-human patients?
Dr. Maxwell believes the only way to really learn alien medicine is by hands-on experience.
Take the thwok, for instance.
I notified Dr. Maxwell when the patient first arrived. I gave him updates at every stage of treatment. And at the first sign of trouble, I notified him immediately.
So you'd say he was more than just a little involved in the case?
Yes, but Dr. Maxwell's involved in all of his cases.
Thank you, Dr. Breslauer. That will be all.
He went to grow with all this?
He's not just my colleague, Harris. He's my friend.
We're all friends here, Haylen. Did he offer an explanation?
No. How can he explain something that isn't true?
Be careful, Haylen. Don't let your personal feelings cloud your judgment. Our first responsibility is to protect our patients.
And protecting Grote is protecting our patients, Harris.
Dr. Breslauer, Mr. Locke is ready to see you now.
She'll be right in.
You know, I envy CJ and his ambitions for soaring out into the Sahartic. Beyond being dashing, he's very brave. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Thought you would. You've taken quite a liking to him, haven't you?
No. Why would you say that?
Oh, I've always been the observant type. When you look around for a living, you wind up seeing quite a lot. Even now. There used to be such gloriously tiny points of light. And now each star might as well be a galaxy. I do believe I'd risk almost anything to see them again.
Even blindness?
It's a terrifying prospect, I'll grant you, but I'm afraid the possibility of seeing the heavens again blinds me more than anything else.
I understand you've been conducting something of your own investigation.
Well, when you alerted us to the problem, we decided it was only prudent to look into it.
More than prudent, since your inquiry began before I even arrived. I'm sure I don't need to remind you that you're under oath.
I'm aware of that.
Good. In that case, did your findings reveal anything that suggested Dr. Maxwell might be involved?
There were any number of possibilities, which we...
A simple yes or no will suffice, Doctor.
Maybe, but...
And will you please tell us what you found?
A string of purely circumstantial evidence. Nothing else.
I see. Did you study law as a student at the Hopkins Colony?
No, I thought about it and then decided on medicine instead.
Very well, then I'll be the judge of what is purely circumstantial. And you pass out the Band-Aids when we're done.
Excellent call on the subcranial grafts.
Oh, I just hope it holds Joanne's optic sheaths together.
Well, if the nerve rejects the new tissue, we will know soon enough. Either way, wouldn't have been able to do it without you.
Thanks.
My pleasure. You know, you should try and catch a few Z's. I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but you look like you've been through hell.
Is there any right way to take that? You don't look much better.
Touché.
Dr. Jurado, we're ready for you now.
Oh, good, good. I've been waiting for this slither on.
So all of the non-humans who died were patients of Dr. Maxwell, isn't that correct?
As were hundreds of aliens whom he saved. He is our primary alien physiologist.
And in addition to the thwok, all were found to have high levels of scrutiny in their systems, weren't they?
Look, I'm sure that was just...
According to your pharmacy records, there was only one doctor who ordered regular supplies of scrutiny from Intermed. Can you tell us who it was? Shall I bring you up on charges of withholding evidence? I beg your pardon. Speak up, please.
Dr. Maxwell.
And is it possible for anyone else to fake a doctor's prescription?
Not unless they figure out how to rip off someone else's eyes and vocal cords. We don't order any meds unless the voice pattern and retinal print are verified with Intermed's data banks.
And only Dr. Maxwell could have ordered meds in his name.
You want to put words into my mouth? Then yeah, that's how this system works.
Dr. Jurado, I really only have one simple question for you.
Good, so do I. So eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You know what? I'll go first. What the hell are you thinking?
I beg your pardon.
I'm serious. I have known Grote Maxwell since before I landed at Mercy Point, and whether you can actually comprehend such a concept, he is the finest alien physiologist I've ever had the honor to work with.
Duly noted, Doctor, but hardly relevant.
How so?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, you're wrong.
Your level of experience in dealing with aliens is quite inferior compared to Dr. Maxwell's.
So is yours. Point being?
Point being, that's exactly why you've asked him to supply you with a letter of recommendation for the next Sahartic mission, isn't it?
That's my business.
And my business is demonstrating what a terrible character witness you are. That will be all.
I wish I could say it was a pleasure.
No, of course. The pleasure of your presence is all mine. State your name and occupation for the record.
Grote Maxwell, primary alien physiologist.
Dr. Maxwell, is it true that you've been treating alien patients since before the ISE sanctioned the practice of interspecies care?
I took an oath to treat the sick and injured regardless of race, creed, or species, so I don't need a governing body to tell me who I should or should not help.
A very liberal approach. I wonder if your father would feel the same way.
He wouldn't.
Your family resided on a mining colony while you were growing up, a colony on which certain spacist views were commonplace.
Oh, yes.
Your mother died of lunar pneumonia. You've always held the alien workers responsible.
No.
Case 11673, you were overheard by an orderly describing the yurts as an idle subspecies.
On a mining camp, there were some who were less motivated than others, but then again, they had good reason. They lived in a lousy, filthy, dirty, oppressed place.
Case 12598, a Kretsch female was brought in, suffering a broken tailbone. You were assigned the case, but you insisted a coworker handle it.
I was busy with another patient.
She was in pain.
She was treated.
Not by you.
Look, if you're going to arrest me for working my ass off, then just do it, because I could use the break. Otherwise, I'm going to cut your little inquisition short.
I've got, rounds to make. Harris, all this investigator is doing is twisting words and lobbing accusations.
I'm sorry, but the evidence does suggest...
What are you saying?
I'm saying that I have to put your interests, and even my interests, after those of the hospital. And in order to protect its charter and its reputation, and until we can all get to the bottom of all this. I have no choice but to suspend your privileges as a physician at Mercy Point.
Mercy Point will continue in a moment.
Foundation. Hip increase light slowly to 0.2. All right, Joanne. Here we go. I'm going to take your bandages off now. I want you to tell me the moment you feel any pain at all. Your eyes are going to be very sensitive. We hope.
Drew? I'm right here, Joanne, right beside you.
Good. If you're not holding his hand, do you mind holding mine?
Maximum brightness, Dr. Jurado.
I've spent a long time looking at this great big universe. I only wish I'd looked more carefully.
Joanne,
What are you doing staring at me with a beautiful woman like her in the room?
You can see?
Yes. I don't believe I've ever felt a more wonderful pain.
Great, then I guess I'll just hand these over. The Atronach 3B needs hydrating, change of dressing. There's a herniated tentacle in orthopedics that someone should check on. Daza with gill rot in 2, and of course the Esperacema case in 4.
See that these are passed on to the non-human staff in the segregated ward as soon as possible, Haylen.
Yes, doctor. That pretty much does it. Segregated, just leapt back 3 centuries.
Good. Hi.
Are we late for a party?
Dr. Maxwell has been suspended and confined to quarters pending completion of this investigation.
Oh, Kim, you just let her go. She's got a job to do, and so do the rest of you.
Son of a bitch, they are going to hang him out to dry.
We've got to do something.
Oh, no. Are those the blood samples from the segregated ward? Yes, Bortalk. I was making a delivery up there, and they asked me to bring these down to the forensic lab, Wing C. Yeah. Well, I'll save you the trip. Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
Enter.
Dr. Breslauer said I might find you here.
And only here. What's up?
I have been recalled by the Shen. In light of this recent unpleasantness, they are concerned for my safety.
The list of casualties keeps growing, doesn't it?
For what it's worth, Dr. Maxwell, I want you to know that I, for one, give no credence to these charges.
Thank you. But, I'm beginning to think that maybe I am guilty.
Of murder?
No. Of wasting the last 20 years of my life trying to bring the species together, only to find myself pulling them apart. Now, there's a piece of irony for you.
Forgive my impatience with self-pity, Dr. Maxwell. I haven't much time. And as different as you and I may be, I have still come to you. Not because your heart is in the right place. That rarely guarantees a reward in this lifetime. Indeed, I have come to you because in spite of it all, you are still very good at what you do. I've decided to delay my departure until I'm certain the Souchere is out of danger. I would appreciate your consult.
I guess you haven't been informed.
I'm aware of your suspension, but that is politics. Like yourself, I am only concerned with patients. If you would do us both the courtesy of meeting me in Recovery 9.
Dr. B, twice in one day. What can I do you for this time?
Morley, I need more information on the circulant orders.
told you, and this suits everything I know. If the computer says Maxwell placed it...
Then he placed them, I know, but I don't believe it. So I need to access your pharmaceutical data files, your logins, terminal numbers, and passwords.
No can do. That's all classified. I'd lose my license.
Look, I'm about to lose a friend to a witch hunt, Morley. Give me a break.
Sorry, Doc, I can't do it. Certain rules cannot be broken.
Certain bonds are about to be broken if you don't access that system.
Don't worry, I'm a doctor. Depending on which ones he breaks, I may be able to fix them.
Password, mortar, and pestle. Document user ID, memprint Maxwell. Farm order, circulant. Scan.
Identify the terminal number. If someone's used Grote's password, we can trace their location.
User position needs priority clearance. Luckily, I happen to have one. HIP. Clearance Omega. Trace circulant orders.
Dr. Maxwell's circulant orders originated from Terminal Beta 47.
Grid location, HIP.
Forensics Lab, Wing C.
Breathing is shallow but stable.
We may be looking at partial paralysis of the phytex muscle. May I?
Consult was my idea, remember.
I don't want to hurt you. You have to understand.
What's happening?
I don't know. Pip!
Hemolytic pressure is decreasing. Chance of respiratory failure increasing.
We have to dose him again with Boronol. Ah! Baton, cardio wand, 5 ATPs, and a 3-stem pulse. Put the cardio wand down, doctor. Baton, your patient is dying! Baton!
Patient is deceased.
Dr. Maxwell, you're under arrest for the murder of this non-human.
And several others like him.
Bortok, I want to talk to you. Serious dead end, pal. You killed them all, didn't you?
I simply showed them mercy.
Well, you don't want to do that. There's nothing out there but nothing. Zero, as in gravity and pressure. It's a messy way to die.
Don't speak to me of death. You don't know what it means to die.
You know when you're right. But today's not the day.
No!
Next Thursday, check into a hospital on the edge of the galaxy.
This is Mercy Point Hospital. I know where I am.
Where the patients come from worlds unknown. The emergencies are totally alien. And the doctors work 24/7.
Well, you don't want to do that.